Hey nerds, what's up? I'm going to be filming a video about some series that I really want to read this year in 2020. Some of them are repeats from books that I wanted to read in 2019, but you know, these things do happen. So, I have a set of 5 books here that I want to talk about, like if we're gonna buddy read together, but I'm going to just list out the books first that I just want to read this year. So I really want to finish the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I am currently reading Cress, so I have one more book plus the novella left for this series. This series, if you don't know, is by Marissa Meyer, and it's a bunch of different fairy tale retellings. So the first one follows Cinderella, and then there's Little Red Riding Hood, Cress is Rapunzel, and then Winter is Snow White. And they're all sci-fi fantasies, so that's really cool. The next series that I really want to get to this year is finishing the Scythe series. I have read the first 2. I've read Scythe and Thunderhead, and I need to read The Toll, which I think just relatively recently came out, so I have one more book in this series to read. Scythe is about a utopian society in the future. It's like set in the future, and every like illness, death has been eradicated, and so everybody can live forever, but in order to maintain population control, there is the Scythedom, and in order to be a Scythe, you have to be chosen because you don't want to be a Scythe, and those are the people who kill people. And so it starts out with our 2 main characters. Can't remember their names. They have weird names, but the 2 of them have been chosen to become Scythes, and so it's about that. The next series that I want to finish this year is Every Heart a Doorway. I think it's called Wayward Children series. So this series, I've read the first 2, Every Heart a Doorway and Sticks and Bones. Sticks and Stones? Bones and Sticks? I don't know. I read the first 2. There are 2 more. One has already come out and the 4th will come out this year, so I haven't read those 2 yet. This is a series of short books. They're like 120 pages. Wayward Children's School is a school for kids who have gone into a portal world, and then they are having a hard time once they come back, transitioning back into the real world. So the first one has like a little bit of a murder mystery. The second one is about a character that we have met in the first one, and then I don't know what the other 2 are about, but they're kind of like not quite related, but they're all related. Do you know what I mean? The next series that I want to finish is a duology, and it's the Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue series. The Gentleman's Guide series, I think. I have read the first one, but I haven't read the second one, which I've heard mixed reviews about, but I do still want to read myself. Gentleman's Guide is a book, it's a historical fiction book about a boy named Monty who may or may not be bisexual, and he's basically in trouble with his parents because he gets into a lot of shenanigans, and so he gets sent on this like escapade with his best friend, which like sounds like a horrible thing as a punishment because it just sounds like fun. But anyway, he's supposed to like get his shit together and then come back to be in charge of the estate, and hijinks ensues. That is another series where the series don't really relate, but they follow different characters of the same story. Six of Crows is a duology. I've read the first one. I haven't read Crooked Kingdom yet. And Six of Crows is a heist novel, a young adult novel about a series of characters who all get together to perform this heist, and they're all kind of, you know, the bottom of the barrel craziness that ensues in the middle of a large city, and it takes place in the Grisha world. So if you've read the Grisha trilogy, then you know the world that they're in. The next duology that I do want to finish is the You by Carolyn Kepnes series. I've read You. I have not read Hidden Bodies yet, but that is the sequel to follow what's his face that I can't ever remember his name. I also still need to watch season 2, but I'm trying to wait until I read it. So that's a thing that I'm trying to do. You is about a man whose name is Joe, and he is stalking a character, a girl, and the book is told in second person, so it's like he's speaking to you. You know, you do this and you do that and I'm following you, and it's really creepy, and it's kind of like a mystery thriller probably is the best word. And then Hidden Bodies follows Joe later. Next duology, dang, there's a lot of duologies on here. The next duology is the Lifelike series by Jay Kristoff. I've read Lifelike. I have not yet read Deviate. Lifelike was so good. It's, how do I even explain? The next series that I would like to finish is the Ember in the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. I have read an Ember in the Ashes, but I haven't read A Torch Against the Night or Reaper at the Gates. This book, for me, is always really hard to explain. So basically, it's about this girl whose brother gets in trouble in this world, and it's a historical fantasy fiction world. I don't know if there's actually, I think there is magic, if I remember correctly. And so anyway, the brother gets in trouble, and in order to try to save him, she has to infiltrate the people who are in charge. So she goes in as a slave girl into the palace, and while there she meets the lead soldier who's in charge, who also has his own issues with the monarchy, so to speak. I don't think it's technically a monarchy, but the people in charge. And so he is considering running away, and it's about them doing stuff. Truth Witch is the next series that I need to finish. I've read Truth Witch, but I haven't read any of the other books, and I can't remember if there's 2 more or 3 more. It's either a trilogy or a series of 4. I can't remember, but I haven't read these yet. I mean, I haven't read the rest of the series yet. This is also a book series set up where you follow one character, then follow another character, then you follow another character, and I definitely need to reread Truth Witch before I continue on with the series, because I do not remember what happens, and it was also kind of confusing to listen to on audiobook, which is what I did, but it was at the beginning when I was first starting to listen to audiobooks, and that was a mistake. So I definitely need to reread it, but from my understanding, this is a fantasy world where different people have different gifts, and so there's Truth Witch, the name of the thing, and then there's Blood Witch, there's Sight Witch, all these things, and the Truth Witch is somebody who can tell when somebody is telling the truth, and it's a very rare gift, and she has to keep it secret so that people won't try to steal her, essentially. Next series duology at this point that I want to finish is the Children of Blood and Bone series. I've read Children of Blood and Bone, but I have not read the sequel yet. This story is a fantasy world. We follow a girl who has white hair, and in this world, the white hair shows that in the past she has had magical properties, but the magic is gone. Nobody has magic anymore, but they are still really frowned upon in society, and they are lowest ranked, and stuff goes on between the royalty of the world and her, and stuff happens, and things. The next duology, or actually I think it's a trilogy by the end of 2020 that I do want to finish this year, is the Poppy War series. I've read the Poppy War, I haven't read the Dragon Republic yet, and the third one that I don't know the name of comes out at some point in 2020, I'm pretty sure. So this book I have mixed feelings about. I'm definitely willing to give the sequel a chance though. This book takes place in a fantastical version of historical China, and there's magic involved, and the first one follows a girl who leaves her small town, and she's a foster kid, and she's kind of abused. She's definitely abused, and she goes to study at this military school, and then when the book starts, there's an assumption that they've been at peace for so long, and then eventually a war does break out and things happen. And yeah, I didn't love this one. I definitely thought it was just fine, but I would like to try one more book and see how I like it before I decide if I want to read the third one. The next series that I want to get to is one that I haven't yet started, but it is the Red Rising trilogy by Pierce Brown. Honestly, don't know a lot about this, except for I'm pretty sure there's a group of people called Reds that are the lowest of the low in this society, and I'm pretty sure it's a sci-fi, but I don't know why it's a sci-fi, and then they rise up, and there's some sort of thing. I don't know. I have no idea. I just know that everyone talks about it. I also, okay, so there are some people who are doing a Brandon Sanderson read-along for all of his books, and I want to participate in it. I'm terrified. There are so many books in his repertoire. I hear a lot about them, and I hear really great things about them, and I want to take part in that. Lastly, I have some series here that I would really like to get to this year that I want to buddy read with. Some of them are books that I would be rereading, and some of them are books that I would not be rereading, so let's do the rereads first. I really want to reread A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I'm currently in the middle of my reread for the Throne of Glass series. I have one more book left. Well, I have almost 2 books left. I'm in the middle I'm not even in the middle. I'm like the first third or quarter of the way into Tower of Dawn. Our live show for Kingdom of Ash is going to be in February. I think it's at the end of February. I think it's February 28th maybe. So I'm going to be finishing that up, and I would like to also read these ones again because I think maybe I like these more. I haven't decided yet. I need to reread them. So if you're interested in reading A Court of Thorns and Roses with me, let me know. A Court of Thorns and Roses, if you didn't know, is a very, very loose Beauty and the Beast retelling. It follows Fae. So we have a girl named Feyre who's a human on the border of human versus Fae land, and she shoots a wolf to go hunting to help her family, but it turns out that that wolf was actually a Fae, and so Tamlin, the Prince of the Autumn Court, decides to take her as punishment for killing a Fae, because that's one of the treaty's rules, but she didn't even know he was a Fae. Things go on from there. I like this series a lot, but it's also Sarah J. Maas, so if you don't like Sarah J. Maas, this is not for you. The other series that I would really like to reread this year is The Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. This is one of my favorite series, like, that I remember growing up. This is a bind-up of all 3 books, and dude, I absolutely loved these books when I was growing up. I think I read them like in early high school, late middle school, and the movie, TV show just came out, and I had a blast watching that, and I just want to jump right back into this. If you don't know what his Dark Materials is about, The Golden Compass is the first one, so you might have watched the movie, read the book, or watch the new TV show. It's out on HBO, but it's about a girl named Lyra whose uncle goes missing, and then this lady takes her in, and she has also been like blessed with the ability to use this very fancy golden compass, and she doesn't know like why she knows how to use it, but she knows that it's telling her things, and so she goes on an adventure trying to figure out where all of the missing kids are that have been going missing in her city and things. It's definitely fantasy. There's a lot of magic in it. I really want to read this, so if you are down to read this with me, you can read it for the first time for both of these, or you can buddy read it with me for a reread. I don't care, but if you're interested in reading either of these, let me know. And then the last 3 series that I really want to read this year, I also would be down for buddy reads. I've never read them before, but if you have reread them, if you want to reread them, or if you want to just read them with me, either one is fine. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This is a sci-fi book. I literally know nothing about it. All I know is that Chelsea gave it to me because it's one of her favorite books, and she decided to give me this version of her entire trilogy, and I want to read it. I've heard a lot of good things about this series, but I also have heard nothing about what it's about, and like I don't even want to read the back because I've gone this long without knowing what this book is about. Let's just read it. So if you want to read it with me, let me know. Another one that I feel like a lot of people really love, talking about hyped things. If you didn't watch my last video, it was all about hyping up books and the book community being hyping of things. The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I haven't read this yet. Still haven't. It's been a long time, and I would like to read this series. I don't know if I'm gonna like it. Holly Black and me have a like tenuous relationship. I like some of her things, but I definitely don't like others, and I just recently reread one of my favorite books of all time, Scythe by Holly Black, and I ended up hating it. And I think that this book is set in the same Fae world as Scythe. So I'm apprehensive, but I do want to give it a try. So if you want to reread, or if you want to read or reread this series with me, it'll be my first time reading it, and I'm interested. And the last series that I really want to get to this year is the Sleeping Giants series. I think that this series has a name, maybe Wayfarers. I really want to read these books. First of all, look at how beautiful this cover is. Like, what? Look at it. I've heard that these are great to listen to on audiobook. This is the back of it, by the way. Like, what the heck? Who did this? Who did it? Because it's amazing. I've heard that these are good to listen to on audiobook, and I would be down to do that. But also, this book is so pretty, I just want to read it. But, like, it is told in, like, formatting that is, like, speaking. So, I've heard it's good on audio. But if you're interested in reading this series with me for the first or the multiple times, I would be down. I don't know anything about it. I just know it's a sci-fi. Another series that I have no idea what it's about, but I really want to read. Okay, those are the 5 series that I definitely want to read, and I want to buddy read with you guys, with anybody who wants to join any of them, let me know. I want to do that. And then the other series that I also want to get to this year in general, I definitely don't think I will actually get to all of these series, especially considering I have other books I want to read too, but it is nice to have a list somewhere for me to look at and peruse through and decide on. It's so many series. Okay, so with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I make videos every Monday and Wednesday on this channel, and I'll see you guys very soon with a new one. Bye!